Your life.
All right.
Okay, hang on. Your life. Hi mga kasokal! It's Saturday, 1 p.m. and it's time for another SoCal Pinoy's virtual class. And today we have Rowena Similar who's going to be talking about her English Tagalog children's book Rum Rum and Lola, and she's going to be doing a live reading for all of us. So this is a special class for your kids. So yeah, just get them and gather them, and we'll listen to Rowena. Hi, Rowena.
Hi, Mick. First of all, thanks for the opportunity to read my book. I know with the pandemic, it's been hard to actually be in person and meet with people to read it live. So thank you for this opportunity. So I wrote this book. It's called Rom Rom and Lola, and it's both in English and Tagalog, for your kids to learn some Tagalog words that we use in our households. Um, just a little bit about myself, my background. I was actually born in Quezon City, Philippines. I spent majority of my childhood in Sampaloc, Manila. So I lived there. I went to kindergarten, grade school, up until the 5th grade. So Tagalog is my first language. And then in 1995, I ended up moving to SoCal with my mom, my dad, and my sister. Um, so yeah, that was back in 1995 when I was 11 years old. So you can figure out how old I am. But anyways, I do have a kuya who still lives in the Philippines. Um, by the time we migrated over here, he was already over 21, and I guess the rules are if you're over 21, then you have to start the petition all over again. So he was kind of left behind. um, but enough about that. I just feel like I still have close ties to the Philippines. I have nieces, my sister-in-law, and like I said, my kuya. um, And I actually recently just got back from a trip out there with my son, my husband, and my mom in February before the pandemic happened. So we're very lucky we got back in time. Anyhow, so yeah, like I spent my pre-adolescent stages here in the U.S. I went to grade school in Cyprus. I started the 6th grade, and then I went to junior high. I attended Cyprus High School, and then I went to Cal State Long Beach and got my bachelor's degree in journalism. So writing has always been a passion for me. I used to write poems when I was in high school. I was part of the newspaper team in high school and in college. But yeah, I didn't really pursue it. I didn't pursue journalism when I graduated. Some things happened. But anyways, enough about that. So yeah, like I said, I've always had a passion for writing, and I am a fan of children's books, particularly picture books. I love how they look. I love that there's always a moral to the story that the children can pick up from. So yeah, it was always in the back of my head to write one myself. In 2017, when I got pregnant, at my baby shower, I actually received a couple of books. This one was one of them. It's called Zapata, and it's by the Little Libros, and it's basically a Spanish and English book. And I was kind of sitting there thinking to myself that, nobody got me a Tagalog English book. So I started doing the search myself. I went on Amazon and I got this book. It's called Filipino Friends for myself and my baby, of course. And then I called my brother and asked him to look up some books for me that I could read to my baby, because that has always been my goal, to teach my kids or my future kids how to speak Tagalog. I mean, being a native speaker myself, I kind of owe them that knowledge, to make sure that they know how to speak my language and know my culture as well. So my brother actually got me this book. It's called Bahay Kubo. And it's all in Tagalog. If you know the words to the song, it's all illustrated here. And I love this one because Bahay Kubo was actually one of the first books that I taught, or Bahay Kubo was one of the first songs that I taught my baby. And then he also got me this book. It's called Ang Maliit na Kalabaw. And then just searching online, I found these other books. Ang Alamat ng Ibong Adarna. And this one basically is a counting book. It's in Tagalog. And then there's also this one, Florante at Laura. And this one is all about shapes. Or actually, sorry, colors. I think there's another one about shapes, but I didn't bring it out here. And then, of course, I had to get the Alpabetong Filipino. So it goes through the modern ABC with Tagalog examples. So yeah, like I said, I'm a fan of children's books, and I kind of had this idea to, why not just start my own? I didn't find too many Phil Am writers at the time when I had my baby. I don't think Little Yellow Jeepney was around yet, and Jack and Ague hasn't been written yet. So I just kind of decided to write my own. I sat down, and at the time I was going through something very difficult in my life. I'm not going to go through it, or I'm not going to share it right now. I apologize. But it was also right around the time I was going back to work after my maternity leave. So I sat down, wrote it. It's basically inspired by my own son and my mom, his Lola. And um, I sat on the story for a while. It was sitting on my laptop for about a year until recently when the pandemic hit. And I was kind of bored. We didn't really do much as a family. We just stayed home. So I figured, why not try to publish the story? And luckily, I found an illustrator who is actually based in Cavite, Philippines. His name is Giselle Del Rosario, and he's a teacher in the Philippines. And I just really like collaborating and working with him because he gave me some ideas about the book. He was so easy to work with. And yeah, he just gave life to the images in my head. And I hope you guys like it too. So I'm going to start the story now. Here it is. It's called Rom Rom and Lola. Lower my camera a little bit so you can see. When Mommy and Daddy leave for the day, Rom Rom spends time under Lola's care. They wave goodbye as the blue truck leaves, excited to see how today will be. And you can see Lola is translated to grandmother right below it. And you'll also see the Tagalog version written out. At Lola's house, he eats warm pandesal and drinks a bottle of dede for almusal. Ligo na, Lola says to her apo. She gets a batya and a small green tabo. So batya and a tabo. I know I got baths in the batya when I was younger. Lola helps Rom Rom put on pambahay. She fixes his hair with a small suklay. Sando and shorts are his current go-to. Needless to say, they're all brand new. Lola helps Rom Rom put on his chinelas, a pair of blue ones that are just the right size. They're gifts from his tito, who bought them this summer. He always knew about Rom Rom's favorite color. In goes the right foot, followed by the left foot. He is slowly learning to make them stay put. For nap time, Lola sings a song in Filipino, a lullaby version of Bahay Kubo. Its catchy melody tells a timeless story about a little bamboo house surrounded by veggies. Here's Lola singing Bahay Kubo, kahit munti, ang halaman doon ay sari-sari. You know that song? Rom Rom is safely cradled by his Lola as they both fall asleep on the tumba-tumba. Shh, wake them up. After nap time, they go out for a walk. Lola pulls Rom Rom in a red cariton. They go once or twice around the same block. Lola even checks to see what's in the mailbox. After they walk, they rest for a bit. Lola gets a high chair where Rom Rom could sit. Kain na! She walks in with a treat, a bowl of arroz caldo for Rom Rom to eat. Then ube ice cream, it's what's for dessert. Another yummy treat, a good boy deserves. The two love to watch Pinoy shows together. If you walk by the house, you'll hear bursts of laughter. Most of the time, a game show is on TV. Together they clap and cheer hooray loudly. Hep hep hooray! For merienda, Rom Rom eats Pinoy snacks. At Lola's house, the broas come in packs. Broas. She also has polvoron and oraro cookies, along with some tasty vanilla-filled goodies, also known as skyflakes. Time for Rom Rom's favorite pastime, reading. Lola grabs the book, Ang Pagong at Ang Maching. It's a popular fable about outsmarting a bully. She hopes that her apo will learn from the story. Lola teaches Rom Filipino cultural lessons, such as honoring gestures and polite expressions. She teaches him to use po, opo, in the proper way to mano. Mano po. The blue truck comes back every afternoon. It's a signal for Rom that it's time to go soon. Paalam. Lola waves and blows him kisses. From time to time, she thinks about loved ones she misses. Some days are hard, but nights are the toughest. Still, she is thankful she can spend some time with her apo who makes her smile. The end. So the last couple of pages, actually a glossary, so you can look up the Tagalog words that are used in the story and what they mean in English. And that is it. I hope you guys like it. So just wait for Mick. I think Mick might have some questions.
Thank you so much. That is so awesome. It definitely helps a lot of our kids learn more words in Tagalog. And that was such a cool story of what how you told us that your mom and your baby was an inspiration, and how you used your time during pandemic to do something really creative and move forward with your passion. So with that said, do you have any plans of writing more books in the future?
Yeah, I actually like the creative process. So I'm actually working on my second one. And it's a counting book basically, but there's a story to it. And the character is also Rom. So it's kind of a sequel to this first one. Yeah.
So okay, this is like $1 million question. Like I've been like wanting to ask you, who is Rom?
So Rom is actually inspired by my son. His real name is Roman. He is named after my dad. And my dad, he passed away in 2018, but he briefly met my son like maybe a couple months before he passed. And my son was, I think, let me see, September, October. So around 3 months at the time, my dad was flattered that that we named my son after him. But then he said, I don't want him to have the same nickname. Can we just call him Rom? And I was like, yeah, for sure. So my dad was actually the one who came up with the name Rom.
Oh wow, that is so cool.
Yeah.
And can you tell us where our viewers will be able to find your books?
Yes. So you can actually log on to www.romrombooks.com, and you'll find more info about it. It's actually also available on Amazon. So if you're a Prime member, then shipping is, I believe, free, and you get it sooner. But if you want me to write or autograph your book, do go on my website and get it from there. It's also available in a couple of stores in Southern California. So if you have heard of Cafe Republic in Cerritos, you can get it there. You can also get the book at Teofilo Coffee Company in La Salle. And also in Berkeley. I know if you guys are ever in the area, it's at a bookstore in Berkeley, and I can write that on the comments. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message on my website.
That is so cool. I've been to Cafe Republic, and yeah, they have really good stuff too. Like they have really good desserts. So hi to Carla, in case you're watching. I know
Hi,
you're
Carla.
like really busy over there at your cafe. But yeah, you guys check that out too. She's also one of our members in SoCal Pinoys. And is as far as the process, how long did it take, for the production of this to happen?
So writing the book itself, it probably took me about 6 months. I was kind of in a dark place when I wrote it, like going through some deaths in the family, and then, postpartum. I don't call it depression, but it was kind of sad to have to go back to work after being on maternity leave. So I was in that mindset. Um, and so that probably took maybe 6 months, and then finding an illustrator to actually illustrate the book and, like, draw and color and all that stuff. And then I did all the layout myself. Probably took a year. I would say a year. The majority of it was done during the pandemic, so I had more time.
That's awesome. So there are good things, that come out of this pandemic when you're alone and, we start thinking about creative things. And I just wanted to tell you because all of this, like all of the virtual classes that we've been doing, we're
Mhm.
still under lockdown and in the pandemic, but they all came out like, all of this, happened during the
Mhm.
pandemic, right? And so with that said, I do have some reminders for everybody, but do you have anything that, you want our viewers to know before we go?
Um, just, I would say, like, with myself, I try to encourage my son is half Caucasian, well, a quarter Caucasian and a quarter Chilean, so Spanish is also um, in the household sometimes. But I try to encourage Filipino families to, get in touch with their culture from time to time. I'm lucky that my mom actually lives with us now, so Tagalog is always present in my son's life. I know it gets a little bit harder as a generation goes, but as much as you can, like, if you start with certain words and teach your kids certain words, eventually it'll form into phrases, and then phrases form into sentences. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and so everything starts with baby steps, and it's a good thing that you're going back to our roots and passing on a lot of that knowledge and culture to your son. So before we go, I just wanted to remind everybody that this coming week we have a couple of virtual classes, and so we're starting with um, so this is something that we had on a poll. Like we asked everybody, like, what they wanted to watch and what topics they were interested in. And so this coming Thursday, October 29th, we have Filipino myths and legends. So this is something that a lot of people were asking about. So we're going to learn about mythology and all the legends, that we have in the Philippines. Like if the Greeks have the Greek mythology, we have Philippine mythology as well. And so that's going to be with Catherine C. Luib. She's an instructor with Suyo Mano. So this particular class is a collaboration between Suyo Mano and um, SoCal Pinoys. And this will be presented in celebration of Filipino American History Month. Um, so that's something to look out for, 7 p.m. on Thursday, October 29. And then after that, we have Amanda Nicole Dumagindin. She's going to talk about managing COVID-19 and other stressors. So her presentation, Ikaw ay Sapat, Managing COVID-19 and Other Stressors, is comes from the Riverside County. So she's a staff worker, a mental health worker at Riverside County, and she's going to be sharing all her knowledge about managing stress and all these other things that we didn't really have to deal with outside of the pandemic, and outside of having like of COVID times, right? So yeah, that's something to look forward to. She has several classes also, in case you guys are interested. That's in Riverside County. Um, yeah, and we're really gonna have like a lot of information coming from her. So that's Friday, October 30 at 7 p.m. And you guys like stay tuned for more like announcements about events and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll see you next week and have a great weekend. And so yeah, Rowena, thank you so much for gracing our virtual class. It was really cool and fun to listen to your story, and to also have you read from Rom and Lola. I'm sure a lot of our members will be interested. We have a lot of parents who have small kids. Yeah, so that's great. Check out her website. What's your website again?
It's www.romrombooks.com.
Okay, so there you have it. So
Thank
everyone, hope
you.
you guys have a great weekend. See you guys soon.
Bye. Thanks.